This is part 2 of goal-oriented training with Shana Leigh.
This is the Andres Segovia Show.
Greetings everyone and welcome to the Andres Segovia Show. I am your host Andres Segovia. In this episode I conclude part 2 of my sit-down interview with my friend and personal trainer. If you missed part 1 of this interview, I recommend you go back and check that one out before listening to this one, because they literally springboard off from one to the other and the conversation continues. So you're gonna basically come in midway if you're tuning in now. So stop listening, check out the previous episode, then continue this one. And as was in the previous episode, stay tuned to after the interview so you can find out what latest program Shana is doing and how she can help you get in the best shape of your life. This is part 2 of goal-oriented training with Shana Leigh. Yeah, I caught the last round on Instagram Live. Yeah, one of your friends was doing the Instagram
Yeah, my brother
Live.
Went on Instagram Live so that people could see, and my parents, you know. So yeah, I was glad that everyone got to see.
Oh, yeah. No, that was cool. There's a punchline here though.
Oh.
So how did you take the result? I know, pun intended. How did you take the result? Not like, oh, did the judge wrong, or because we can't undo whatever happened.
Yeah.
So the question for you is, as someone that's trained, you're goal oriented to get to where you got. When the result didn't go your way, how did you process that?
So it went to decision. So, you know, obviously, of course, we wanted the win. There were some things that happened in the second and third round of the fight that, so the way the judges score, like I knew because she finished in the last 10 seconds of the second round, the last 10 seconds, probably, I would say the last 10 seconds of the second round and the last, maybe 20, 30 seconds of the third round, she picked up the pace a little bit more because, and a lot of fighters do that because they know that if they finish the round strong, it looks better to the judges. So it influences their scoring. How each round started out, I came out strong. She was able to pace herself, and she would always finish strong as I was finishing a little gassed, a little tired, a little slower. And so I kind of knew that I kind of just felt like she had won, 2 of the 3 rounds because of that. And I was kind of surprised though after it ended that they had taken so long with the scorecards, because usually, if it was like very obvious, then they're quick, with the scorecard. So I was kind of like, man, why are they taking so long? Like, what's going on? And
just get it over with.
But apparently it was pretty close. When I talked to some people later, they're like, oh yeah, it was pretty close, and I was like, really? I was like, cool. But, there weren't really any she didn't really land any big shots on me, that I remember, except for one, and I'll talk about that one in a second. So I kind of wasn't surprised by the decision, the judge's decision, but I was bummed because, always looking back, I'm like, man, I could have just given a little more, in those last 10, 20 seconds of the round because they do the 10-second clap, or they make a noise, the 10 seconds to let the fighters know they have only 10 seconds left before the bell. And I just wish I would have given just a little bit more. But I think, overall, it was such a great experience. We were pretty evenly matched. The fight was good. She was a striker. I'm more of a wrestling jiu-jitsu person, and we stood and we banged it out, and it didn't go to the ground at all. I think for sure if I would have been able to finish some of the takedown attempts that I did, that I definitely would have won. But her takedown defense was really good, and I was struggling to finish the takedowns. And I think she probably knew because, the fighters do research on their opponents sometimes. And my jiu-jitsu is much, much better than my striking. My striking is okay for, how long I've been training. But yeah, she definitely did not want to take it to the ground. Like even when she caught one of my kicks and dumped me on the ground, she didn't want to come down. She let me stand up. So even her coach was like, she kind of started to come toward me, and her coach was like, no. And like, so she backed out and then let me stand up. But, like overall, like I was just so happy to be there. I was still smiling at the end, and even after the decision, I was stoked, It was, you win some, you lose some. Of course, I wish I would have won, but, on to the next.
When is the next one?
So I'm thinking, so at the end of the third round, probably like the last 20 seconds, I had my back up against the cage, and I was not blocking my face enough. So when you block punches and you're turned, you need to block like this so they can't hit you in the jaw or the nose. So like you're my opponent. Yeah. I was blocked like this, and she punched, and I had my hand like this, and she punched through and hit my nose.
Yeah.
And broke it. I didn't know it was broken at that moment, but so she landed that shot, and then I ducked in for a takedown to get my face away from her, and broke my nose after the bell rang. I kind of reached up, touched my face, and I was like, oh, okay. It kind of bent in that way, and I was like, oh shit, my nose is broke, but I was like hoping that it wasn't, and that I was just imagining it, But I could just feel the pressure, so I knew it was broken. I was just hoping that it didn't look too terrible. So I had to take some time off to recover. I took probably 2-3 months off, and then just started getting back into training now, maybe 2-3 weeks ago. So the next one will be probably September, October, around the same time.
Oh, wow.
Just because I wanted to take a little time off, with the injury I had to take time off, unfortunately. Yes, and then now I'm just kind of focusing on like some work projects and some things, some financial goals that I have, and fighting takes up a lot of time. Oh, yeah. Like 5-6 hours a day of training. So I kind of like the beginning of the year, I was like, okay, well, I'll work on these business goals first. And then after, the second half of the year, I'll figure out like when I'm going to fight. But I'm thinking probably like September, October again, but maybe sooner. I want to get 2 in this year. Oh, wow. Yeah. So the goal is to not get injured, the first one, so that I can fight fairly quickly after. Gotcha. Probably would have fought in January or February of this year if I wouldn't have been injured. But
okay, so because you posted a lot of your stories, and that's kind of how we basically stay connected through social media, mostly Instagram. The way you bounce back from that is what I found inspiring, because it's considered defeat, and as close as the decision was, still like it didn't go your way, and every time you look in the mirror, you're reminded.
Even now, I'm like, God damn. Like certain angles, like you can't really tell. It healed very, very straight compared to what it looked like the day of. Yeah. But I still got like a little bump there that I'm always like, ugh. But I'm definitely not getting a nose job until I'm done fighting. I'll, once I'm done, then I'll probably get one, just because vanity, But
which is what kind of digressing on my side a bit. It was like based on what the competitions that you were, those body competitions you were involved in. It's like, wait, you want to destroy the temple? Is that what you're doing?
People always ask me that, and like the biggest thing is like, people are like, well, what about your face? You want to fight? What about your face? And I'm like, I'll still have a face after. They're like, oh, what if you get like, but I'm like, I get what people are saying, but that wasn't ever like a factor of like, oh, well, what if I, break this or that? And it's like, well, it's kind of the appeal that it's dangerous, like that's kind of what makes it so exciting.
And that's kind of what I get it, because I found that surprising. I didn't know that you were training to that until right after I left No Excuse Fitness, because that's when you talked about doing it. You had kind of whispered it. We're still getting to know one another, right? But then I'm like, she wants to do what now? I thought maybe because Nick was influencing you at one of the other trainers there, because he did the same. And just by the way, Nick is the one who taught me how to breathe. That's like, I had almost everything down, everything that I was sucking in, like resistance training, strength training, getting the postures right. Like, okay, I need to get the postures right, and the form over function. Remember that. So that's what I kept telling myself. It's quality over quantity.
Yeah.
And I kept struggling with my breathing cycle. Every time I would go out for a run, I was like, oh my goodness, 2 minutes in, like, I'm done, man.
Yeah.
So how am I supposed to get to 5K? Because I was training for a 5K. And just 2 sessions with Nick. It's like, dude, this is what I'm doing MMA, man. You gotta go ready. You only got 15 seconds. Like, all right, then I told him, you train me that way while I'm here. It's like, it's only half an hour, but kick my butt, man. And that's it. Oh, I only train maybe
breathing is everything.
Yes. Yeah. That's how I built my endurance. So I couldn't do the 5K. I got sick, sadly. So I missed out on that. But I was able to do a tornado, which was a 1.5 hour, I guess triathlon or whatever they call it. Three different workouts. It was distance, which we're going to do the treadmill because we did it at the gym. So it was distance on the tread, distance road, and then reps. And we all had the different levels to choose from. I was the only one that chose vigorous. It's like, oh, we got our only guy doing the vigorous. And like, how come no one else is doing this? So, and I finished it. And I finished it right before I guess you could say the bell hit the 90-minute mark. But I'm the only one that did it. I'm very proud of that medal.
That's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah, thank you. That's like my accomplishment. There's like, I finally did it. So I'm still trying to get like to a 5K eventually, but I'll probably do it like as a family thing instead of a goal thing, mostly because of where I want to be. Athletic, yes, but it's maybe not so much where I'm going to damage my knees because you got to run on concrete. That's just tough. So no, but bringing it all back, I didn't know that you would get into something like that because your bio that you put up, and then from what I saw of you, so that's like, okay, I want to see where this goes. So the way you bounced back was very inspiring. How you take it, I was like, yeah, man, I'm ready for the next one, because I remember when you posted your video of when you got injured. I don't know if it was during training that you got injured, but that's like the most depressed I've ever seen you on social media. Oh. You had posted a video and you were very like, oh my goodness, like holy smoke, my heart goes out for her. That's what Richie was like, hey, maybe we could meet up for coffee or something, because you took it pretty hard. And I kind of encouraged you, like, hey, why don't you look to see if there's different techniques to train through an injury? Because people want to somehow do it. I had to learn to do it. I injured myself 2 or 3 times in the past 18 months. I think last summer was the harshest one. Not that I tore anything, but not that time. But I definitely pulled the glute, and it took forever to recover. And that killed everything for me. So I'm like, well, at least I could still do some kind of Pilates. And so I did do Pilates. A lot of stretching was involved. So for lack of a better description, it was yoga and core work. So at least I kept that. And nutrition is 80% of everything. So it's like, that's what I kept to. But I always have those two in mind. That moment when you realize that, crap, this is my big setback. Versus, hey, the next day is like, hey, I lost, but thank you for all support. I have the two different mindsets completely. I'm like, look, there, she's ready to go get at him again.
I don't remember which video you're talking about.
You were sitting on some steps, and that's like the saddest face I've ever seen you put. It's like,
I remember that. That's when I hurt my knee at a jiu-jitsu tournament. And but did you watch the whole video?
Yeah, I did. You said you're gonna bounce back.
Because the video in that video, I was talking about how just because you're injured in one area doesn't mean you should just sit around and do nothing.
Exactly.
And I was like, I'm going to do other things, and I can still work upper body and abs and like all that, and just, I think like that one, because I had like lined up these tournaments like back to back, and I had just got back into competing because I was injured earlier that year, and so I was all like, man, I can't believe I'm out again, and I was bummed because I wanted to keep competing. Yeah. But I was like, I'm going to make this video because I want people to know, like, even I get hurt, and then, but I'm still going to do something, like I'll go in and do upper body or work core or, whatever. But yeah, I remember that one. I think I still have that one up on my Instagram.
Because I think it was a little longer. It wasn't just like a...
Yeah, it was like a 10-minute... little clip.
Yeah, no, I remember seeing it, but like I said, I never saw that. You didn't make that face after your tournament. That's what I'm saying. It's like,
oh, you mean after my MMA fight?
Yeah, because like that's why I compare and contrast. Because like I could tell a setback, and in the face of defeat's a different story. It's like, you know what? Yeah, I'm ready to go back at it. And it's like some people relate to sports a lot, right? Mm-hmm. So my team happens to be the New England Patriots. So if I ruffle feathers, there it is. But the comeback against the Falcons is what inspired me to change. When I saw Tom Brady's regimen, so I'm wholly into his what he's called TB12 method, mm-hmm. except the eating part. I'm not that restrictive, but I enjoy a lot of the things that he enjoys. Like, yeah, cool, but yeah, I believe in weights, man. He doesn't really believe in weights. Okay, but to incorporate what you can, right?
Yeah.
The next year, to lose that stupid against the Eagles, we gave him the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah. You're losing me because I don't even watch football.
It's okay.
I'm
the Patriots went to the Super Bowl 3 years in a row. Mm-hmm. We won against the Falcons, the most incredible comeback some call in sports history. Among the top 4 greatest sporting comebacks in world sports history. The next year, we lose stupidly to the Philadelphia Eagles. And the next year, we have the greatest team effort to win against the Rams, which was, that in of itself is inspiring. But I go back to having won in the jaws of defeat, because we had to go to overtime, the only overtime Super Bowl game ever played. And we were losing 28-3. It's like, dude, there's only 17 minutes left. It's like, yeah, right. Mathematically, you can come back. And they did. It's just amazing. But then the next year, to lose, and that was depressing. I'm like, dude, this was ours to win. There was no reason for us to lose. But we lost it. To then bounce back and win again. And the Eagles, did they make it to the playoffs that year? So that's the mindset that we're kind of honing down to basically in this entire conversation, in that we're all going to run into setbacks. We have work for those that work as either running their own companies or work as accountants or tax agents of sorts. Spring is the worst. And that's normally when people really start getting to spring training. Oh, season's changing. We don't have to be locked inside the house somewhere. We're in California. It doesn't really matter. But that's always that. And for me, the worst of it is after November, it's just December, I don't get to enjoy the holidays. Work is a pain in the butt. Because you're racing to get the stuff done for the year and prepare for the next year. And then once that closes up, you're dealing with taxes. Now you're still dealing with taxes coming in end of January, early February to make sure everything's in order. It's a pain in the butt. And because you're dealing with insurance, whether they do what is called audits at the beginning or the end of the year, that alone to coordinate is just annoying as well. So if your ducks are in order, you can get your business license suspended. And that's the kind of stuff you're facing all the time. Or the worst thing, you don't want to face an IRS audit just because you forgot one stupid receipt. So all those things can take into your time, like it has into mine. And it could eat into meal prepping if you can't do it yourself. Like, okay, I can't do it, so I'll get a meal prep company. And you're working with deadlines. Meal prep companies work on deadlines. Missed it. I'm speaking for myself here. It's like, I missed the deadlines. Okay, fine, crap. I'll have to do it myself. I'll go shopping for groceries. Oops, I forgot. So now I screwed up my nutrition. And I cannot put in my workout because I'm too busy in the office. So like, dude, setbacks. How do you bounce back from that? And that's what you're doing the physical explanation of things, and I'm giving you the I guess what people would feel like if you're a 9-to-5 job, for example. That's the typical thing. It's like, oh, I know you're a business owner, even worse because there is no time off. So it's like, how do you bounce back from that? And I hit my setbacks. I've hit some depression, and I think I mentioned this before we started recording, where I hit that roadblock where I feel I'm not where I want to be physically. I look in the mirror, it's like, where are the results? And I feel better after my physical checkups. Like, oh, I'm on the right path. You know, I needed that reassurance. So, I guess the question is, what keeps you going?
You know, like I said in my kind of transformation story before, when I put on that weight, and I decided to change, I was tired of feeling a certain way. So I wanted to change. And, you know, exercise for me has been, it helps me feel good, you know, to be very simple, it's beyond the vanity thing. Like, yes, looking in shape and athletic is a good goal, right? We all want to look athletic, but you know, I think feeling good, everything starts with how you feel.
Yeah.
And from my eating to my exercise, in the beginning when I first started, it started out as I want to look good. I want to, it's a very vanity or whatever, superficial. Like I want to look good. I want to be healthy. And now it's like, I want to feel good. I want to feel good. I want to have a sharp brain. I want to be quick-witted. I want to be able to make decisions. I want to have control over my emotions as much as possible. And when you're eating healthy and you're exercising, you know, it helps you to feel good, to have a clear mind, no brain fog, or at least less. You know, like I eat healthy because it makes me feel good. I can think clearly. I can make good decisions. I can make good business decisions. And I exercise because same reason. It makes me feel good. It helps, you know, it helps everything else to fall into place, you know. And so when I eat healthy and I exercise, I feel good. When I feel good, I do good, and I can do good out in the world, and I can help other people better. I can be my best self, but it starts with me. Like if I'm not my best, how am I going to help other people do anything? Not just in fitness and nutrition, but how am I going to talk to my friend if she's, you know, going through some personal problems and needs some help? Like if I feel crappy because I have a poor diet, or you know, I'm drinking all the time, or I'm smoking or whatever, like, am I going to be able to be my best self for her or for my friend? Or, you know, that's just a small example, but, and nothing against people who drink and smoke and eat poorly, okay? But just to, you know, right, I know, just kidding. But, you know, like, those things just don't make me feel good over time. Maybe eating poorly or drinking alcohol, and I've done all of it, you know. Smoking, drinking, eating bad feels good in the moment, but it's a very short-lived satisfaction. As soon as you're done with the cigarette, or as soon as you're done with the donut, now I definitely eat donuts. No, we know that.
Yeah, you can't have a donut in there.
but you know, like, you know, it's like those things are very short-term satisfaction, right? The long term, I'm in it for the long haul, and what keeps me going is that, man, I can get so much more done. I feel good, and, you know, being healthy on the outside, like looking fit, is just like a side effect of that, you know, and...
It's because you made it a lifestyle. It became your lifestyle. Like you mentioned, before, when you did the body competitions and stuff before, you're waking, yeah, you look great. You didn't feel great. You couldn't eat the stuff.
And that was another extreme. So like, yeah, maybe then when I was doing that extreme hardcore dieting, maybe I looked good. I was in the best shape of my life, quote unquote, but I didn't feel good. You know, I was hungry all the time, and
you couldn't enjoy life.
Yeah, I wasn't happy. So it was just the opposite extreme of eating badly, was eating way too healthy, right? Because you're miserable. Like, who wants to be around a miserable person? Who cares what they look like? You know, if you're miserable, you're miserable. Yeah. And so it was the opposite end of that spectrum, was, you know, just I still didn't feel good. And so how I live my life now, I eat healthy because eating healthy food helps me to feel happier, and eating food and sugary food, a lot of it, too many days in a row, makes me feel depressed and sad and tired. And I don't like feeling depressed and sad and tired. I want to feel happy and energized and smart, you know, and eating healthy literally helps me feel smarter.
and then I think, based on what you shared, it provides perspective into what commitment actually means. If for anybody that's out there putting up like, oh, this year I want to do this, it's like, that's one step. Take it a year at a time if you want, but like you did.
And even to reference like what you were saying, how like, oh, I didn't order my meal preps in time. You know, I didn't put in my order, so I missed it for this week, and they're not going to get delivered. And oh, I forgot to go to the grocery store, and it's already Monday morning now. Crap, what am I going to do? I have to work, and my schedule's too busy. It's like, figure that part out. Like, but you learn, okay, I got to have systems in place. So just. Like for me, I've always done my own meal prep for years now. Well, lately I've been busier, and I'm tired of cooking and cleaning. So I finally started ordering meal preps again from a company that does it, iconmeals.com. And so it helps me. It's clean, healthy food. It's the same type of food I would be cooking at home. And man, just like setting up that system, credit card order, place my order, done. They deliver it every week. I don't have to go back and like put in a new order. I just have the same stuff every week, because how I look at my food is like, I don't need to thoroughly enjoy every meal. I just need it to taste good, to be healthy, and to fuel me. If I'm going to enjoy a meal that's off the meal preps, then it's going to be when I go out for my girlfriend's birthday on Saturday or something. And I don't have to be on a diet for the party because I've been on meal preps all week. And you don't have to eat the same thing every day. I'm a person, I just don't care, because I like to be efficient in everything. So I'm the type of person that I don't care about eating the same thing every day. I can do that for a long time, at least a few weeks, you know.
And in a sense, we kind of already do. So it's
yeah.
like, dude, it's okay.
Yeah,
and
I'd rather just not think about it that much, because I have so many other things to think about. So I order my food. It's delivered every Friday. I'm good. So that's one system that's just in place, ready to go. Now, they do have their stuff set up to where I could order different foods for different days of the week if you want. So that's like totally an option, but it's a subscription. It's ordered, it's done. It doesn't ever stop unless I go in and stop it. So that system is in place. The other system that's in place is like, I've learned over time, making the mistakes that like, from this time to this time, I'm working out. And that is an appointment with myself that I stick to. Now, have I ever veered from it? Yes. Have I ever been mad at myself because I veered from my workout schedule to fit in another appointment or a client? You know, even my clients don't get to interrupt my training session, right? Because I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I'm booked at that time. And have another time. And, you know, that's just a system I put in place for myself. I know not everybody can do that every week. The last probably 6 months to a year, my schedule has been different now. So I have to plan my workouts on Sunday for the upcoming week. And I have to do that every week. So I don't have like a set schedule every week now, like I used to. But the point is that I do schedule it. So like whether it's, you know, Sunday or whatever day, I put it in literally in my Google Calendar. I finally started using the digital calendar.
Hallelujah.
I know, right?
That's what
2020.
That's what Apple does to you.
I know. So, but I've always been a person who likes to write it down, and I'm like, oh man, I forgot my planner. It's at home or it's wherever. Guess what? I never forget my phone. So I put my workouts in my calendar. Meal prep is delivered every Friday, and you know, those two systems I put in place, when they're in place, everything else falls into place, you know?
So as I brought it up in, I think one of my first episodes, talking about commitment, and that's just it, because when I wanted to lose weight, my big thing was that I was planning for the long haul when it came to my fitness life. But I knew that the number one component of all that, because life happens, you're traveling, you injure yourself, God forbid, something just comes up, takes up your time. Work. Nutrition was going to be the most important part for me. That's why I devoted my attention to that first. I got that in check, not the cauliflower, but you know what? I got everything else in check.
All the other stuff.
Yes. So then that's when it came full circle when I was coming into fitness, because I knew it was going to happen, that if I didn't get that done right, if I didn't incorporate my transition with fitness properly to incorporate, because I was just going to, most people that do that program and don't incorporate fitness, they'll just start reintroducing foods to themselves. The problem is, and I did rapid weight loss. Not everybody does it like I did. I went extreme. I went below what my coaches recommended. So yeah, 1,200, 1,300 calories. I was doing 900 calories. I could live off it, and I did. I proved it. But some people were like freaked out. It's like, oh, you gotta bump it up. It's like, I know what I'm doing, and I proved it to them. I knew what I was doing. But I also knew the trade-off. That if I didn't transition right, rapid weight gain, and I was gonna have a hard time getting back to that. So I was scared to death of that. So when I was transitioning, I wanted to incorporate the fitness level properly as I was reintroducing foods, because as I went from no muscle to muscle, I knew that I'll be able to incorporate the foods properly as I increase my intensity in my workouts. And that's exactly what I did. So there was in my heaviest training, I was eating 4,500 calories a day, proper breakdown of macros, all sorts, carbs, fats, and protein, and I was still losing weight. And that was the best that I felt until the dreadful April came around, where work got in the way. I was still doing everything right, except sleep. That's the one component I missed out on. I was getting about 3.5 to 4 hours of sleep. My body fat went from 12.3 back to 21. And when it did, I got depressed. Like, you mean to tell me all the hard work of the past year and a half went out the window in not even a month? It for me, it was really hard to bounce back on from that, because psychologically it affected
Well, yeah, the psychological part is harder. Like, it's actually not as hard as we think, but it's like, oh my gosh, like, you know what you went through to get there, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh.
You kicked my butt, and then all that for what? I'm just kidding. But yeah, that's what ended up happening. I'm like, my goodness, it really disappointed me. And I was by this time I was with a different trainer, because I was at a different gym. But I told him what happened. I was like, dude, man, you know that's like not working out, right? That what you just did and not sleeping. He's like, yeah. So I told him, I was like, well, look, how about this?
Sleep is everything.
How about I increase my sleep time. I cut my workout time in half, increase intensity. And I'm gonna cut my calorie intake in half. It's like, start there. I did that, and I haven't put off the stubborn fat, but I definitely gained my muscle that I was hoping to gain. And every time I just like, well, I'm not exactly where I am, but I'm a lot better now than I feel a lot better now. And even with setbacks, like, man, it's okay. It's the journey, and I'm gonna keep going. And I have to give myself credit. When you have 3 little ones that sometimes wake you up at night, or even the wife that needs help around the house, needs attention, like that it just happens, then I can't be hurting, like kicking my own butt, saying, where did I go wrong? It's like, dude, we all get 24 hours. You're managing as best you can, so way to go. Because now I'm not so hard on myself. Like yesterday, I instead of doing my workout, I decided the wife had a rough day. That sink was packed. I'm like, you know what? I'll wash the dishes instead. It took me an hour. But I took care of all that. I'm like, well, there goes a lot of my workout time. So I decided, just to make it more efficient. And I also plan my workouts every week, and I alternate what I eat that week so I don't plateau on my foods. But also depending on what kind of training I'm doing. And I'm mostly doing strength, but when I feel that I'm not recovering properly, so that's like, okay, I think I gotta switch to resistance in this case. Especially when I hurt my wrist, I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't lift. It's like, well, you can always do resistance training. So I did. But anyway, all that, in other words, learning to adapt. And that's what people can learn to do. And for those that are looking for a trainer, that's I'm like, you know what, you're my first choice to talk about these things, because you were my first trainer. It wasn't by choice, but I'm so glad it was that way, because look, over 2 years later, we're still in touch, and you're still inspiring me.
Well, thank you. I'm glad.
Yeah, and you are a certified coach, and officially are coaching people. There are people that can join your program, and every now and then you do some challenges, but also I noticed some free circuits are available on Instagram every now and then too.
I've been posting, I think, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday on my story. I do like some kind of circuit of something, but we'll start getting more kind of organized with those posts even, and there'll be more. Yeah,
awesome. Yeah. But for those that are interested in getting a personal trainer, because the one-on-one helps, and like for those listening, yes, you can think she's intimidating at first.
I'm not that intimidating. I'm really nice.
Yeah. They just heard that you were able to kill somebody in the ring. Okay, no, but still, it's like, cause that's the world that I thought I was walking into, and you couldn't be more personable. So it's, for those that are interested, and you coach guys and girls, so I know they'll be well serviced. Shana, once again, thank you so much for joining me on this podcast, and we'll hope to do this again sometime.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
So how can Shana help you transform yourself into the best you ever been? Well, she's currently offering the Fit 90 Full Body Transformation course. The Fit 90 course is a customized 90-day full-body transformation program that will take you from where you are today to your ultimate goal. I know this sounds like a lot of gotcha stuff, but it's really true. It is a results-driven program that fits your lifestyle, personality, personal preferences, and it is science-based. So if you want to feel happier and healthier while working towards your dream body, if you want to get amazing results with quick, effective training methods, if you want the freedom to eat the food you like while still losing fat and gaining lean muscle, if you want more energy, more confidence, and if you want to work with a seasoned professional who will be the coach that you need and you want real lasting results, Shana's your coach. So ShanaLeighFitness.com is where you can go learn more about her and her program and how you are able to get started on your Fit 90 Day program. And as for myself, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the program. You can tune in to all of the content that I do at www.theandresegovia.com. Check out the show notes accompanying this episode where I'll leave links to Shana's information also. And for real estate resources, go to www.segoviares.com so you can find out more about that. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of The Andre Segovia Show. I will see you on the next one.